I don't know if there are any fashion YouTubers with more jackets than me, but jackets are kinda my thing. That means I own a lot of great ones and some pretty awful ones, and I've made those mistakes so you don't have to. I'm gonna share 7 rules for avoiding bad jackets and getting something that you're actually gonna like this winter. This is Aries here, professional jacket wearer. Let's do this. There are a lot of stores out there who primarily advertise through social media and are either drop shipping products from AliExpress or purchasing white label goods from cheap manufacturers and adding their branding in at the end. I have never bought a jacket from one of these places that I genuinely like. They are always compromised products in some way, be that bad fit, features that don't work properly, cheap feeling materials, or frankly just cringe design. Dropshippers specifically will also massively rip you off for this stuff. The prices look kinda cheap, but they're way lower from the source, i.e. AliExpress, and anything like customer support, returns is going to be a complete nightmare. For affordable stuff, I would much sooner go somewhere like Uniqlo where you can get a more reliable product, or look at the world of secondhand and vintage. There are all kinds of brands and styles available to you there, if you have the time to root out something good, and the rest of the video should help with that, as will the several other videos that I've made around that topic. It's also worth remembering that because you don't need as many jackets as you do pants or tees, and because by nature they are more substantial and more expensive products, it is okay to be spending more on this than many of your other items of clothing, particularly when, if you get the right one, you're going to be wearing it a lot. There's a super popular piece of fashion advice, which is do not buy watches from fashion brands. Gucci, Armani, etc. do not make very good products versus more authentic and legitimate watchmakers. To some extent, the same is true of jackets. I know it seems obvious that a brand that makes a lot of jackets is gonna make better ones, but there are some areas which require specific expertise. Working with GTX, for example, not the easiest thing in the world. Apparently the Acronym and Sakai collab had problems with the seam tape coming off because they didn't quite stick it down properly. Good outerwear brands also design with articulation in mind, making your nice crunchy outerwear a lot easier to move around in. Now, if you're looking for a wool overcoat, blouson, some other kind of more general purpose piece of outerwear, I think you can relax this rule a little bit. Plenty of fashion brands will make pretty good products in that area. But as soon as you start getting into more specialist territory, like leather jackets, 3-layer technical shells, work jackets, and you have luxury money to spend, I think opting for one of those brands, which is a lot more dedicated to those specific areas, will in general get you a better product. Oh, I am comically low in the shot. Hi. All right, let me fix that. What if you're on more of a budget though? Well, several categories later in this video are going to talk about not overspending, but I'm also very happy to say that this video's paid sponsor has a bunch of more affordable outerwear options, including a full urban technical category, exactly the kind of thing I like. Very conveniently, I am wearing one right now, so let's take a look at Piecebird and do some jacket analysis. So the Tech Athletic hooded jacket here comes in about $160 and I think it fits pretty well. I like this camel color, which works nicely in more futuristic fits, but still feels very much at home from an outdoor fashion perspective. A few features I like: hood and hem adjusters are very important in dialing in the fit and keeping the rain off, and pit zips on this, something a lot of more affordable jackets often forget. Well, this one's got them. The paneling is also surprisingly nice. You'll notice some articulation at the arms, and most interestingly, this little front section here creating a gusset, which moves the front of the jacket away from your chin, especially useful when the hood is up. Main thing it's missing from a performance perspective is taped seams, but I wouldn't necessarily expect that at this price point. There's so much moisture in the air, my camera is getting absolutely soaked, but I have another jacket to show you. All right, jacket number 2. This is a down jacket, $242, and when putting it on, it is just immediately warm and comfortable. The lining feels good, it's pretty aesthetically neutral, apart from this vertical branding down the pocket here, so I feel like you can pretty much chuck it on with anything, which is always nice for a I just need to keep warm type of jacket. The hood is also really big, which as a giant-headed individual, I can definitely appreciate. It would have benefited from an adjuster at the back like the other jacket has, because it can fall down a little bit low, but apart from that, it's pretty good, pretty comfy. Both jackets have these comfy little double internal cuffs, which are nice and comfy and crucially don't get in the way. And I like both jackets having an internal pocket just so you got that little bit of storage. A word on sizing though, although I think both of these jackets fit me well, I am wearing a double XL in both of these. I would normally wear a medium in jackets, so definitely pay attention to the measurements and be prepared to take multiple sizes up from your standard Western jacket size. Honestly, I feel like Piecebird have gone the right way with this collection, focusing on getting the basics right rather than relying on gimmicky features or designs. I was pleasantly surprised. Hopefully you think they look good too, and I massively appreciate having relevant sponsors on the channel. So there will be links to this stuff down in the description. Please do take a look, and massive thanks to Peacebird for being paid sponsors of the video. And if you like saving money, you're probably going to appreciate the next type of jacket that I would avoid. I'm very much a proponent of buying less stuff better, getting that one thing that you absolutely love rather than several that you're not 100% happy with. However, I would not buy the absolute top of the line jacket from one of the many performance outerwear brands. Why? The North Face, Arc'teryx, Patagonia, more expensive doesn't always mean better. Well, it kind of does, but only in a very specific way. Arc'teryx's most expensive shell is the Alpha AR, the toughest, most durable shell designed for climbing in the worst conditions imaginable. Well, I ain't doing that on my little trip to the shop to buy some chalky milk. And because the Alpha AR is designed specifically for one purpose, it uses a higher denier face fabric, it's less breathable, it's less comfortable to wear day to day. It uses these higher up pockets, which are designed to not be obstructed by climbing harnesses, but are generally less useful day to day. The hood is big enough to fit a helmet underneath as well. So not only would I be wasting money by spending more on the Alpha AR, but I'm actually getting a worse experience because it is designed for something that isn't day-to-day use. This is very common. The most expensive technical jackets are often designed with a specific purpose in mind. If you're not going to use the jacket for that purpose, save your money, don't buy them. What a beautiful day for an iced beverage. Okay, I know what you're thinking. I am literally the guy who loves talking about jackets with features on them and talking up all of these cool feature-rich jackets and how it all works. However, the features on offer is never my only consideration when buying a new jacket. Often I find brands which sell you super hard on the feature set first rarely produce a good-looking final product. It's all those Kickstarter jackets which are like, "We've made the world's most epic 16-pocket jacket to carry everything the modern man needs." No one is using all those. If you want to carry that much stuff, just bring a bag. They tap into this masculine insecurity of clothing being this frivolous interest for women, and men aren't allowed to pick something because they like it. It has to have a certain amount of functionality or feature set, and that is all. I cannot stress this enough. Everyone deserves to look good and feel good, and the clothing you're wearing can be a big part of that. Even if you're buying something which is functional, I feel like it needs to sell you on its style too. Another side of buying for functionality, you cannot get around that high feature set plus good looks equals expensive cost, and I'm thinking of things like Acronym, which do partly sell you on their feature set. It's got interops, force lock, jacket sling, escape zip. All of these things are very much luxuries, not essentials. So you might be more successful opting for a good looking jacket that's going to get the core stuff right that you really need it for. And speaking anecdotally, many people buy their first Acronym jacket based at least partly on this feature set, but what keeps them coming back is those smaller elements, the little design details, the aesthetic touches, rather than those big named features. I mean, no one is using force lock in the days of wireless headphones. I'm not against fashion trends necessarily. I think it can be pretty cool to take inspiration from what's hot right now, incorporate that in your style, but jackets are multi-year purchases. So if you end up going for whatever is super hyped or really on trend right now, 12 months later, you might end up regretting that. So many jacket types are always going to look good if you buy with intention and quality in mind. But the Y2K, Opium, Ken Carson, cropped boxy whatever probably doesn't in the same way. In general, the more extreme the jacket, the loudest pattern, the more exaggerated fit, the more likely it is to feel dated more quickly. There will always be macro level, slower moving trends. A work jacket from 15 years ago is not going to look quite the same as one today, but that's also not going to leave you feeling uncool in the same way as going for something ultra trend driven. And I do still experiment with trends when it comes to t-shirts, accessories, those smaller items. But jackets, I stick a little closer to my personal style of futuristic technical stuff or clothing designed with a particular purpose in mind. All the worst jackets that I've bought, apart from the dropshipped ones, have been things that I've seen on sale or have randomly dropped and I just impulse buy now. Conversely, many of my favorite pickups have been things where I've really taken the time to think about what it is that I want and then found a jacket that fits that criteria. Or if I see a particular jacket and then really take the time to think about how that's going to work with my style, how it's going to fit into my wardrobe, these situations I'm going to wear it in, etc. Sure, some of those are sexy, full-feature jackets from brands like Acronym designed to take my technical style style to the next level, but also something like the Arc'teryx Atom, which I've worn so much because I really wanted that minimal, lightweight, insulated mid-layer, and it does exactly that extremely well. This is super important when January sales and other transactional periods come up. Culturally, we see shopping as a leisure activity. I'm sure all of us have sat around scrolling and scrolling through sales and whatever at some point because it's just kind of fun to do so. But jackets are expensive and multi-year purchases, so if you want to feel that dopamine and buy something at that sweet 50% off, then I'd be looking more at tees and sweaters than I would something like a jacket. But of course, if you have a particular jacket in mind and then it goes on sale, well, hey, that's a perfect time to pick it up. Now, I don't own a leather jacket, but if I were to buy one, I would always go for the real thing rather than vegan leather, which in many cases is just a fancy way of saying plastic. Not only are the environmental credentials of vegan leather somewhat up for debate in the same way as other plastic jackets, it loses the positive characteristics of real leather, like how it'll patina over time and really mold to the individual wearer. Some brands are evolving here with the use of pineapple or mushroom leather, but these are currently pretty niche. Totally understand the ethical concerns about buying animal products, in which case I would sooner be buying vintage so you're not directly supporting the industry, or looking at one of the many other types of jacket types and jacket materials rather than faux leather specifically. As a bonus area, more something to be aware of is the use of PFAS in clothing. You'll see several brands now advertising PFA-free jackets. Some US states are banning the sale of clothing with PFAS in them. This is a group of chemicals which have amazing hydrophobic properties, hence the use in jackets, but also are forever chemicals linked to serious health problems in humans. Research has shown jackets shedding these chemicals, thus potentially damaging the natural world you're trying to enjoy, and maybe even yourself.
So, is Gore-Tex shedding toxic chemicals into the environment? Well, based off of what I'm seeing, it seems so.
I'll link to an excellent video from My Life Outdoors in the description on this topic. It's something I'd like to discuss in more detail, considering much of the channel is based around this type of clothing. I personally am pretty heavily invested in it, but for now, know that I'm going to be rethinking some of the clothing that I'm buying in 2025 and beyond. And with that, I guess it's time to go home. With this knowledge combined, you are going to be able to avoid the many pitfalls that I have fallen into over the years and grab yourself a jacket that you are going to love this winter. Please share your experiences or thoughts too. I love how much everyone is able to contribute to these discussion points with your thoughtful comments. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and of course, I will be back very soon with the next one.